You know that feeling when you're reading something and it just flows? It's effortless. But then you've also read stuff that feels like hitting a speed bump with every single sentence. It's clunky, it's confusing, and honestly, it's just hard work to get through.
So what's the deal? What's the secret sauce? Why does one piece of writing feel so smooth and elegant, while another, even with perfectly fine grammar, just feels like a total mess? It's a question that drives us all crazy, right? Whether we're the ones reading it or the ones trying to write it.
Okay, take a look at this. Go ahead and read it. Every sentence is technically correct, right? But man, it is a slog to get through. It feels so disjointed, almost like a random list of facts just thrown onto the page. So what is it? What makes this so weak? Well, the answer is actually a lot simpler than you'd think.
All right, let's get into it. The real magic, the secret behind writing that just works, all comes down to two key principles: coherence and cohesion. Now, I know they sound kind of similar, but trust me, they do two totally different and super important jobs.
The best way to think about it is like you're building a house. Coherence, that's your architect's blueprint. It's the big picture plan, the logical structure that makes sure the kitchen actually connects to the dining room and the whole house, makes sense. But cohesion? That's the mortar between the bricks. It's the linguistic glue that holds every single sentence together so the walls don't just crumble. And you absolutely 100% need both.
Okay, so let's start with that big picture. Time to put on our architect hats and really dig into mastering coherence. This is all about that essential, logical blueprint for your writing. So what is coherence, really? At its core, it's all about the logical flow of your ideas. It's that magic quality that lets your reader move from point A to point B to point C, and they never once feel lost. They're not scratching their heads going, wait a minute, how did we even get here? It's that invisible, underlying logic that just makes everything click.
And here's a fantastic practical tool for building really coherent paragraphs, the Teal method. It's super simple. You start with your topic sentence, one clear idea. Then you give your evidence, facts, examples, whatever you've got. Next, you explain why that evidence even matters. And finally, you link it all back to your main argument. If you follow these 4 steps, you've basically got a formula for a solid, logical paragraph every single time.
And if we zoom out from the paragraph to the whole piece, overall coherence is about that classic structure we all know: intro, body, conclusion. It's just about arranging your ideas in a way that makes sense and making sure each new point is a clear step forward that builds on what came before it. All right, so we've got our blueprint down. Now it's time to mix the mortar. Let's talk about that second principle, cohesion, and look at how this linguistic glue really holds everything together, sentence by sentence.
So, cohesion is all about the nitty-gritty. We're talking about the specific words, the grammar, the little tricks you use to create a super smooth ride for your reader. These are the connectors, the little bridges that link one sentence to the very next one. They're what make your writing feel like one solid, connected piece, instead of just a bunch of random thoughts. And one of the most powerful tools in your cohesion toolkit? Transition words. Seriously, these are your best friends. Think of them like signposts on a highway for your reader. A word like however instantly tells them, okay, a contrast is coming up. Therefore, lets them know a result is on its way. When you use these right, you're basically holding your reader's hand and guiding them through your logic.
Here's another super simple but really effective trick: using pronouns and other reference words. So instead of saying, technology has transformed education over and over, you can just say, this change. See that? That little phrase, this change, creates a seamless link back to the last sentence. It ties them together perfectly and helps you avoid that awkward, clunky repetition. Okay, now let's look at a really common mistake. Just listen to how this sounds. Students must read carefully, practice writing, and they should review in grammar. You can hear it, right? It's just jarring. The rhythm is totally off, and it's because the grammatical pattern is all over the place.
And here's the fix. Students must read carefully, practice writing, and review grammar. So much better. Hear how smooth that is? It's just verb, verb, verb. This concept is called parallelism, and it's an absolute game changer for creating that nice, cohesive flow.
All right, so we have our blueprint, coherence, and we have our glue, cohesion. So what happens when we put them both to work? Let's go back to that clunky example from the beginning and see a little transformation in action.
Okay, let's refresh our memory. Remember this guy? Just a series of short, choppy sentences. I mean, sure, each one makes sense on its own, but together, they just don't connect at all.
It's missing that logical path. That's the coherence, and it has none of that linguistic glue, the cohesion, to stick the ideas together.
And now, look at the after. Online education has become increasingly popular because it provides flexibility. However, many students still prefer traditional classrooms. Wow, what a difference, right? The ideas are actually linked now. Just by adding a because here and a however there, we've created a real logical connection. The ideas just flow right into each other, and it's so much easier to read.
So, let's break down why this is so much better. First, the coherence, the blueprint. The ideas are now structured logically. We go from a benefit to a counterpoint to an explanation. It makes sense. And then you've got the cohesion, the glue. We used however to show contrast. We used this preference to link back to the last idea. See? It's the blueprint and the glue, working together in perfect harmony. Okay, so you get the theory now. Let's get practical. I'm going to give you a simple toolkit you can start using, like, right now to make your own writing stronger.
First up, let's talk about the common traps to avoid. Don't just pepper your writing with transition words because you think you're supposed to. That can get messy. Make sure that when you use a word like it or this, we know exactly what it or this is. And a big one, don't just jump between random ideas. You've got to build that bridge for your reader. And here are some go-to habits to build. Number 1, plan first. An outline is your best friend. That's your coherence blueprint right there. And here's my favorite tip. Read your work out loud. I'm serious. Your ears will catch all the clunky, disconnected sentences that your eyes just skim over. When you hear one of those speed bumps, you know exactly where you need to add a little bit of that cohesive glue.
So, the next time you sit down to write, or even better, when you're revising something, I want you to ask yourself, what does this piece of writing really need? Is the problem in the big picture logic, the flow of your ideas, or is it more about sticking your sentences together more smoothly? So, which tool are you going to reach for first? The architect's blueprint or the linguistic glue?